Hi everybody, my name is Elisa and today we'll do something really fun. If you have never been here before, I create my dream wardrobe from scratch and I take you along for the ride. Today we'll do something that is a little bit outside of my normal content routine, but I just could not let this moment pass without doing something special for it. Wicked the movie part 1 is releasing on November 22nd here in the UK and I could not be more excited. I have listened to Defying Gravity on heavy rotation whenever I needed to listen to something that just blows my mind every single time, and I have seen the musical for the first time last year in the London West End with the most amazing cast of Lucy St. Louis playing Glinda and Alexia Kadime, I hope I say that name correctly, playing Elphaba. Not only did they completely blow me away, they are also the first black female duo heading both lead roles in the Wicked musical history. How amazing is that? Okay, there are a few reasons why you should be excited about this movie. One is the amazing human that is Cynthia Erivo. I don't think I need to say anything more about that. Also, the movie is directed by John M. Chu, which I personally think directed one of the most fun, memorable rom-coms of the last 10 years, which is Crazy Rich Asians. I watch that movie whenever I need a pick-me-up and something that I can laugh at, and it just delivers every single time. I think this Wicked movie will be a fantastic musical and colorful costume bonanza, and I am just so ready to see it. So today I want to embark on a journey of 2 dresses, one being inspired by the lead of the Wicked musical Elphaba and the second lead of the Wicked musical Glinda, and I know this will raise some eyebrows. Now, this isn't cosplay. We're not cosplaying here, and I'm not trying to make anything that resembles a costume in any way. What I want to do is I want to create 2 beautiful, unique dresses that are inspired by Elphaba and Glinda. Now, let's state the obvious. One dress is going to be green and one dress is going to be pink. However, I'm hoping that this is going to be a masterclass in creating something unique and beautiful that is extremely simple in its construction, but looks special and expensive because of the color, the texture, and the silhouette. So when I did research for these projects, I was heavily inspired by the Wicked movie press tour, particularly by all of the method dressing that both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande were doing. There were a lot of amazing looks in that, and particularly I was inspired by the Vanity Fair cover spread, and even more particularly this Louis Vuitton dress that Cynthia Erivo wore on her cover. And when I saw this, I obviously noticed immediately that I have a sewing pattern for this. My Carmi blouse. Some of you might remember the Carmi blouse. This was a pattern that I released early this year. It's currently not available on my Etsy shop, but in the process of this, that might change. Let's see. So when I saw this, I knew immediately that this is the dress that I want to make for the Elphaba dress. So let's analyze this for a second. This is a Carmen dress, meaning we have a off-shoulder dress with a very chunky elasticated neckline, big statement sleeves, and probably, I can't obviously see the whole dress here, a loose bodice is what I would think. So what I've done so far is I have taken the Carmi blouse pattern and I made a few changes to it. One being that I extended the bodice, which was really a 2-second job, and I made the sleeve a little bit more voluminous. I'm gonna forego this like pleated action right here in the dress just because I'm thinking that that's going to affect the dress in a way that I'm probably gonna wear it less. I want it to be still comfortable and not like a huge statement piece, which it's going to be anyway because of the color and the cut, but I want to keep the sleeves a little bit more simple. Let's talk about the fabric, shall we? I want you to imagine the most 1980s green, emerald green taffeta that you can think of, because I got it. I have got iridescent emerald green crushed taffeta for this project because this is what this dress is made of. And if you're thinking, oh wow, this looks very much like every Mother of the Bride dress that I've ever seen, you are correct, because this is what those are made of. But I think that because of the silhouette and the design of the dress, we're gonna end up with something that probably looks more like a very, very high fashion, festive elf. Maybe. All right, that means we have the inspo, we have the pattern, we have the fabric. Let's get into it. All right, that was fast. I think it took me about 8 minutes to cut this. So let's put it together. Okay, fab. So all we need really is elastic, sewing thread in the right color, scissors, tape measure, and the cut pieces. We have all of our pieces cut. We have our pockets that go into the side seams. We have our sleeve pattern, which, fun fact, is almost the size of the bodice. And we have our bodice pieces, which are identical front and back. So really you just use this one piece and you cut it twice, which I have done by placing 2 folds of fabric on top of each other right here, which are my center front, my center back. And that gives me 2 identical pieces that I can put together. Also, there are notches in the side which show you where your pockets go. My fabric doesn't have a right or a wrong side, so all I need to do is to unfold the 2 like so and place them on top of each other like that. First we need to grab our pockets, which we have 4 layers of, and we need to pin them to the sides on both layers. So 2 pieces of pocket on each side, front and back. And I place it in between the notches. So once all of the pockets are pinned on, we can attach them with a few stitches. Once the pockets are attached like this, we are going to serge all of our side seams individually, and that is so that we can, once we sew front and back together, press them open and have them separating and have a really clean, nice finish around the pocket entrance. So I'm going to sew the side seam individually, and then I'm going to pin front and back together. Okay, now that all of our side seams are nicely serged, we can go ahead and understitch our pockets, meaning you place them in front of you and fold the pocket from the inside to the outside like that. And you will now top stitch from this side, effectively making sure that the pocket is always facing this way. All right, now we place front and back of the bodice, right sides touching, so that we can align our side seams, pin and sew them. And now what we do is that we sew down the side, around the pocket and down the remainder of the side, effectively leaving the pocket entrance open. So now that the bodice of the dress is sewn together, pockets are in, all of that is done, we can prep the sleeves, which is fairly simple. You simply have to sew down the sleeve inseams. Obviously when I open them we have a mirrored sleeve. So I'm just going to sew that down and serge it. The sleeve is sewn along the side and we can now turn it outside out. It's going to be the loudest dress I will ever wear. So we now need to attach the sleeve to the dress like so. Let me show you how I did that. Place the armhole in front of you like this. This is the armhole, this is the facing for your elastic channel. And you will find that you have the matching curve in your sleeve. Place the sleeve inseam onto the side seam of the dress and place a pin there. Follow along the armhole curve and pin it. You will also want to pin your facing together. And that's all that. You will now want to sew around your armhole, starting from the facing up here into this corner, around the armhole, and then pivot in this corner back up your facing. Okay, we now have this humongous, very large, quite random looking garment, but we will pull it together now, quite literally, with an elastic and reveal its true silhouette. So the first thing I would recommend you do is to serge the entire opening, the top opening of the dress, which is our neckline, so that we can clean it up and prepare it for creating the tunnel that we then are gonna insert our elastic into. All right, once that is done, we can fold the top of the dress over and towards the inside of the dress, and you can get your guidance from the facing on the side. You will find that this quite sharp curve here that separates the facing from the rest of the dress is also the height of the elastic channel. And to make things easier for myself, I'm going to press this now. Okay, now that I have prepared this, I'm going to make a point of trying to get as clean of a equidistant seam right here that creates the channel as possible. So I will use the guiding plate on my machine, and I will try to leave one section of the channel open so I can actually insert my elastic. Now that the tunnel is in, we can elasticate the neckline, and I've got 1 meter of elastic here, which is technically speaking a waistband. Now, ideally this fits around my shoulders, and now I'm using a safety pin, and I will try to insert this. The elastic is in, and now I just need to overlap it by a little bit and sew it shut. Now I let the elastic jump into the tunnel like this. And we have a beautifully elasticated neckline. Look how clean this looks. It's a bit of a messy process, but when you get there, it looks great. Now we do the same thing with the cuff. Alright, I'm gonna finish off the hem with hemming web, and then we're done. Well, hello there. If you're asking yourself, did she just dye her hair in the middle of a video? Yes, she did. 'Cause continuity be damned. No, just kidding. So, FY, between the last project, which was the green off-shoulder top, and today, there's actually a whole freaking month. Why? Because your girl got really sick, came down with the flu, actually like 2 types of different variations of it probably, came down with it 1 week, had 1 weekend of respite, and then had another 2.5 weeks of being bedbound, more or less. I read 1.5 Harry Potter books. That's how long I was sick. In the meantime, I also went to the hair salon. I had that booked like way before, and this happened. It's you know, I'm getting used to it. It's not necessarily exactly what I asked for, but maybe sometimes things happen for a reason. Everybody tells me it looks great. I don't know if they say it because they want to be nice or because they're honest. I'm trying to pull off the Snow White vibes, which, you know, kind of fit the fairy tale vibe that we're all about in this video, because today we're working on the Glinda dress. Where am I mentally?
Weeks ago.
Over a month ago.
Before I knew I was gonna make this video, I purchased a very special fabric, which serendipitously, I believe, is perfect for the Glinda dress. Ta-da! This is mesh with sequins. Yeah, that's what it is, sequins. Vertical rectangular sequins that all face down. Has something a bit chainmail-y about it, which I kind of love. It's rose gold, which definitely plays into the Glinda theme. I also purchased this rose gold Duchess satin, which we're going to use as a base layer. So as we all know, Ariana Grande plays Glinda in this movie version of Wicked. She went on this Wicked press tour, as did Cynthia Erivo, kind of doing the method dressing thing, where she wore mostly pink for the entirety of all of those press events. And I had a look at all of her looks, and to be completely honest with you, nothing was really like speaking to me. Nothing really grabbed my attention and said, oh, this is it. I think it's because her style, particularly for Glinda, is a little bit too sweet for me. It's a little too girly, whereas Cynthia Erivo's look was quite edgy and, you know, cool girl, which is probably what I'm leaning into a little bit more. However, I found this picture of Kristen Chenoweth, who actually originated the role of Glinda on Broadway back when the Wicked musical first came out, and she wore this dress which really, the texture reminded me of my chainmail sequin tool that I have right here. Now, I was first thinking, okay, I could do exactly what she's wearing here, which is like a off-shoulder type corset with this balloon-ish A-line skirt. However, I've done dresses like these a few times already. On the one hand, they're nothing new for you and for me, and on the other hand, while they tend to be quite simple in terms of how they come together. It's a lot of steps and it's a little tedious. I had a bit of a look around, looked at the fabric that I have at hand and had to think about, okay, what's a cool dress that would be a really nice press tour look that Ariana maybe didn't wear, but would definitely fall into the Glinda category. And I found these really, really cool apron style A-line dresses, which fall more into the cool girl category. So this is what I was inspired by. So yesterday night, I sat down and had to play with my bodice blocks, and I made a pattern, which, you know, is really quite straightforward and simple. There's not much to it. We have our front, which has a very deep V-neck. I think I'm gonna forego the armhole curve and just cut straight down. It also has a super low armhole, which I'm thinking I might want to put some really pretty organza into, that I also want to repeat in the hem area. All in all, we're gonna have this like chainmail style looking apron dress, but there's a little bit of whimsy with the organza. Now I don't have the organza yet, but that's something that we're going to add at a later point anyway. So I'm thinking now I can go ahead and start by cutting my pieces from the Duchess satin, try them on, see what they feel like, see if I need to make any adjustments, and if I do, I can still apply that to my chainmail, because that's something that needs to work. There's not much wiggle room for me. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm going to baste these two pieces together now and try them on. They look promising, but I'm not sure yet. All right, try number one. It's, you know, it has sort of the shape that I'm going for. It has the deep V, which we're gonna have this organza insert here, so it's not actually gonna be all that exposed, but I do feel like it's too big. Quite a bit too big. So I'm thinking I'm going to make these pieces a little smaller, put them together again and try them again. Much better. Okay, and now I'm gonna use these pieces as template for my sequin to cut it. Okay, I want to try and be cheeky. I'm gonna put a tiny, tiny baby dart just in the Duchess satin, and I'm gonna not put it into the more difficult sequined fabric, and maybe that's still gonna help, you know, mitigate any kind of gaping that could still happen. It doesn't gape right now, but I just want to make sure it also doesn't in the future. So I'm just gonna put a tiny, tiny little dart into my V-neck in the front. All right, things are getting serious now. We have cut all of our layers, and I'm gonna start by properly putting together the Duchess satin layer. Left side's touching this time around, pinning my shoulders and my sides and sewing them together. Okay, the sequins go right sides touching as ever. Well, well, well. I put the needle down once and it broke. To be fair, I think that's a super fine needle, if I'm not completely mistaken. But this could be fun. If I cannot sew this on my machine, I'm gonna scream. Because I really do not want to hand sew this. Metallic, oh that's good. And leather, I think, yeah, let's go with the metallic ones, because those are probably a little sturdier. Let's see. Fun, very fun. Definitely chainmail-y. Now, I have discovered that this drapes so much nicer on my body than the Duchess satin. Now, I don't know if I put this and the Duchess satin together, it's going to become a super bulky thing, which would be a bit sad because it's supposed to be a bit slinky, like flapper style, probably, I guess. So now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the two layers on top of each other and try it on and see how it feels. And if I feel it's too bulky, I might actually go and get some acetate lining instead of the Duchess satin and use that to separate the sequins from my body with something soft and nice to the touch, I think that potentially might work better. I already figured this when I started the project, but I wanted to try it with the Duchess satin anyway, so let's see. No, all good. Fears were for nothing. It actually feels really nice now because the Duchess satin keeps everything where it's supposed to be. Before, the neckline was definitely drooping. It was draping nicely around the hips and everything, but it was also drooping. Now it feels like there's a skin over the skeleton. Yeah, exactly. We have a skeleton and we have the skin. So that works like a charm. I think I'm gonna raise the dress just a little bit because, you know, decency. We don't have to have it drop quite that low. So actually we're almost done. Do you think I should go shorter? I feel like when I raise it in the shoulder, it's gonna become a little shorter anyway. I think that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna raise it just a smidge and then it's gonna be a little bit more mini. And then we need the organza that goes in here and I'm gonna do that after lunch. Okay. I got a little sidetracked this afternoon. It is now almost 5 p.m. because I had to go out and go shopping, actually, because I am going to a prom this weekend. Yes, a prom, like the one where teenagers graduate from school and then they have a prom. It's a thing in Austria that the family attends the students' prom, you know, is there as part of the celebration. And my younger cousin followed in my footsteps a little bit scholastically because she went to the same fashion school I used to go to, and she's graduating next year and she has her prom now. So I'm flying home just for the weekend and I've made a dress for it. Naturally, you will see more of it sometime soon. I don't know yet if it's going to be a 2-parter or 1-parter because it was a whole ordeal. So anyway, for that dress I needed to get a bag, but when I was looking for the bag I couldn't find one that I liked that fitted the shoes that I already had. So I bought new shoes and a new bag. So that took me a good 3 hours. Now I'm back and I also got what I actually wanted, which is this pretty pink organza that complements our already existing fabric collection nicely. I had the option to go a little bit more peachy to really fit what I have here, but because we're making a dress for Glinda, for the character, the Glinda dress, it needed to be more pink, so that's why I chose this color. Now I've shortened the dress by about 3 centimeters because this is what I want to show on the bottom of the dress. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut a strip of or rip rather, because this rips nicely, the selvage of my organza, so I can use this sealed off part of the selvage that doesn't fray, and I'm gonna use this to finish the hem of my Duchess satin dress, the inside, the lining basically. And then I can overturn my sequins with my underdress, and then all that remains is basically that I am going to put a little demure organza triangle here in the bust section. Doesn't sound like there's much left to do, but you know, the devil is in the details, and usually that last mile is the hardest, so let's get going. So I'm currently just pinning this strip of organza with my sealed off selvage down onto my Duchess satin, and I'm basically going to attach it with a serger seam and then turn it over and downwards so we have our hem completed. Popular, you're gonna be popular. Still have my sick voice, but the undergarment is done. Okay, now it's time to join my 2 layers for good, overturning my neckline, which I don't know how that's gonna go. We'll see. What I need to do is open up the shoulder seams so that I can use those as my overturning points later, so I can easily clean up my armholes and my neckline at the same time. I think the issue is going to be that my elongated sequins are gonna stick out of the seam when I now overturn this. I have to make peace with that because there's not really another way to do this except leaving everything raw, which could be an edgy, cool look. But I hear you in the comments saying, well, that was a lazy solution. No, I'm just kidding. You guys are always very nice to me. You never say any such a thing. But this is the little voice in my head that thinks I cannot leave anything raw or unfinished, even if it's a design choice. Anyhow, I'm going to overturn these 2 layers with each other and hope for the best, and then potentially maybe I have to trim back any rogue sequence carefully, bit by bit.
Meet me where the meadows grow by the waterhole, lucid dreams of you and me, sky high, busy life I wanna live.
The moment Of truth. How is this gonna overturn? Promising. It looks promising. It looks better than I thought it would.
Thinking, oh, I don't wanna be less than I can be. Waterfalls wash me. The wicked drowning water, let go, wicked water. Wicked drowning water. I don't wanna be less than I can be. Waterfalls wash me and cleanse me. The wicked drowning water, let go, wicked water. Wicked drowning water. It's time I can tell. I don't wanna be less than I can be. Waterfalls wash me. The wicked drowning water, let go, wicked water. Wicked drowning water. I don't wanna be less than I can be. Waterfalls wash me and cleanse me. The wicked drowning water, let go, wicked water. Wicked drowning water. We're not gonna wait, not gonna waste our time.